exactly the same thing that I did yesterday on my first Sunday back in the city. Where you left off is where you're gonna start. It was just incredible to see that full circle, I guess. Kind of saw it as I was reading this book and I had to put it down to learn a new language so that I could pick the book back up and continue to read it. The way I left was the way I started. God doesn't want us to run away from our problems. He wants us to accomplish and fulfill what He has for us. Whatever He started in you, He will complete it, and it's gonna be a crazy time. Alright guys, I am in Central Park and today was pretty crazy. God is fun, God is crazy. I've just been really struggling with fear. I've been struggling with what's my purpose here. Like, God, I know you want me here, but why? Oh my gosh, it's so hot, guys. But yeah, I've just been like, just felt like I was supposed to go to Central Park today and I'm on the train. I take the 3. I'm at Atlantic and I'm waiting for the B train, but then the Q train comes and I was like, oh, Q train is new, like I want to go on the Q train, but I hesitated and I didn't go. So I was like, no, I'll just wait for the B because that's what my thing said. Anyway, so I take the B and I end up going the wrong way because Jesus, and I get off at 7th Ave, walk over to the Manhattan Bronx bound, and I'm waiting. I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna take the B, screw the B. B did me wrong today, and I'm gonna take the Q. I take the Q train and I'm doing my thing. Oh, this is a nicer view. I think I should not wear my glasses. I'm on the train, I'm doing my praying thing. I'm praying in my spiritual language and I'm just like sensing things. I'm like, and so I'm just like, oh, whatever, keep it to myself. And I'm like, I'll say a little prayer for you, then that's it. But I started to feel a little anxious. I knew it in my spirit, and God was like, tell her. I was like, no. People in New York, when you're on the train, you are just not, you gotta put up a front and not be that friendly. So I was like, okay, God, you gotta give me an opportunity. And so I was like, okay, make that girl get off the train and then I'll walk closer to where she's sitting. The girl gets off the train and I was like, oh my gosh. So I go to closer to where she's sitting, but then the girl that's like on the other side holding the pole is like closer to her, and it like would be really weird if I just like said it right then and there. And so I was like, okay, God, make this girl that's closer to her get off the train, or make the guy sitting next to her get off the train. Next stop, the guy gets off the train and I was like, Jesus. And so I was like fighting to like sit down next to her, and so I sit down next to her and I kind of like bump into her on accident to be like, oh sorry, by the way, Jesus loves you. So I was like, oh sorry, and I basically just told her like what God told me, and I told her that awesome, aloha, and said something about Snapchat, which this is not a Snapchat kind of camera. What was I saying? I sit down, bump into her. I was like, I just feel like you have a call in your life. And she was like, what does that mean? And I was like, why did I do this? Well, I just think that you were made for more. Like, I just see you speaking to women and encouraging them and just being a light. And I think that there's just more for you. Like, there is more for you. There's more. And she was like, oh wow, thank you so much for saying that. That's so nice. And I was like, yeah. Like, what do you, like, it was so awkward after. And I asked her, I was like, do you go to church? And she was like, oh, I used to, but I don't anymore. And I was like, oh. And then I said, I think God is calling you back. And she was like, oh. And then she got my number and the rest is history. My reward in New York City was a coffee, but my reward in heaven was probably something super bomb. I just want to be real with you guys and share basically my whole experience. I have been living in fear since I got here. Fear of leaving the house, fear of going around the corner, fear of coming home late, fear of just so much. And I know that I'm supposed to do something incredible here for the kingdom, and God is totally going to break through this fear, full dependency on him, always having a surrendered heart. Yeah, I'm in Central Park and today was awesome already. Okay, bye.